AI is changing the world. Can you put your finger on the problem? It's education. Your son or daughter is not ready for college, and colleges are not ready to teach AI. You cannot afford to pay your assets you need in retirement on a worthless or obsolete degree. Hello, I'm Ed McClements, and we're seeing something right here that we all agree on and that is really that AI is changing everything about the future. We can no longer look at the past and imagine it will be repeated. It just won't. So AI is making strong statements to you high school graduates: stop going to college. It's telling your parents: stop paying for college. My favorite quote is: live like you're going to die tomorrow, but learn like you're going to live forever. AI is changing education. We now have a better solution. What if there's an AI proof education? What if you could own your education, own the future, be where deeds meet degrees, and graduate debt free with a deed in your hand? May I first introduce myself? I'm Ed McClements. I'm an AI consultant, a real estate broker. I'm the founder of DeedFirstEdu. I am a futurist. Tell you about my background. At age 19, I went to Hudson Valley Community College, got a degree there, but worked my way all the way through college. Got married shortly after graduation, and at this point, we have been married for 63 years. I have 5 children, 25 plus grand and great children. I'm now age 85. I use AI every day, and I'm loving it. With more than 60 years of business experience in both New York and California, we've been blessed with a great deal of business success, thank God. Uh, but I understand one basic principle about business is that you don't need a solution if there's not a problem. So let's take a look at the problem that exists for you and your student. Number one, there's a maturity gap. It's estimated that 70% of grads lack adulting skills. The second problem is really that college is giving broken promises. They're charging you and your students more than $30,000 in debt in most cases for giving you outdated Gen Edge information. Some of the textbooks have not been changed since the 1990s. The third problem is that AI is changing everything. It will take 35% of all the entry jobs by the year 2030. The fourth problem is not a problem, it's a blessing. You and I, as parents, are living far longer. I, at age 85, did not expect I would have all this wonderful time in retirement. I have it, and you're going to have it. And unfortunately, 44% of all seniors are going to outlive their savings, probably because 20, 30, 40,000 of that assets that they had way before retirement was thrown away by paying for college tuition that is critically needed, that would have been 10 times that amount if it was allowed to stay in your account and appreciate to handle the expenses of your extended longevity now. When there is a problem, we've got to come up with a new solution. I believe that best solution may be DeedFirstEducation.com. Is it possible to have an AI proof career for your son or daughter? What if they could graduate with a deed and not a debt? Here we're going to explore the possibilities. How could your son or daughter end up with a deed instead of a college debt, which today is estimated at about $35,000 for the average graduating college senior? It's stated that you cannot get tomorrow's success with yesterday's education. When there is a problem, we've got to come up with a new solution. I believe that best solution may be DeedFirstEducation.com. Is it possible to have an AI-proof career for your son or daughter? What if they could graduate with a deed and not a debt? We've developed an AI learning center here in Stillwater devoted to financial planning, real estate, and to entrepreneurship, and to help solve this problem of ineffective education that costs too much and delivers a degree that's obsolete within the next 5 years. I was born in 1940, which is before the baby boom started. In the years of 1946 to 64, 76 million babies were born. There was nothing like that before, and nothing like that has happened after. In fact, today's birth rate is 0.7 per married couple. We have a country that no longer is even keeping pace with its own population. Therefore, we want to look at slide number 2 and see that the largest part of the American society is over age 65. Look at those small percentages of population in the different age groups. I've learned that from a business point of view, that whatever we do as far as a product or a service, we need to be aiming at where the population really is. And that means for people 65 years of age and over. That's where the best careers, the highest paying type of skills are going to have a great demand for talent and professionals in that particular age bracket. Also, there's a QR code to tell you a lot more about the age wave impact on our society. So click on that also to find more information about this crisis. The AI tsunami. Is it a threat? It really can be a blessing if we learn to use it and be aware of its impact on us and make adjustments, especially in how we gain our education and what direction we encourage our sons and daughters to seek careers. They're stating here that 35% of jobs, entry-level jobs, will vanish by 2030. AI is going to dominate those fields of computer coding, doing design work, analytics. Also, the fact is that AI proof careers are going to be in the trades for individuals who have empathy, for those also that have income that's generated from their investments, especially real estate. It states on the bottom that your competition is not AI. It's graduates who are using AI. Own the tools and properties that they will be renting in the future. Let's next take a look at a comparison. It's a balance sheet between traditional college and what's offered by Deed First Education. It's a 4-year plan, perhaps. The traditional college is going to cost somewhere in excess of $60,000, taken away from the parent's net worth. It's going to give a degree that will be obsolete within 5 years. The rate of change is so drastic in our country, fueled by AI. Also, they must, when they do graduate, uh, have a period of unemployment before they can find that first position, being back at home and back dependent with mom and dad again. Now, let's take a look at the alternative here. The alternative is an asset first plan, and it's going to end up, instead of a student debt and canceled checks from the parent's bank account, they're going to end up with more than $340,000 in property that's appreciating. They're going to end up with licenses that prepares them for immediate forms of income, especially a real estate license that teaches them about the most important asset they'll ever own, and that's going to be their real estate. Also, it's giving them an AI proof source of income because it's money that's generating income for them. This is a plan that we'll look at now in more detail. I want to stress that this type of plan is highly flexible. It can be used by any of your children, regardless of their age. But the potential basic design would be that we locate an income property, a two-family property that is going to be rented for income, with your student moving into one of those apartments, even if it's right at the point of high school graduation. Understand how that encourages their independence. It also is meaning that their professors are you, their parents, and their grandparents, as you have an influence on what they're doing and how they are beginning to pick up the skills that it takes for them to be independent in the future. Now, what about the cost of such a plan? Well, if in a traditional plan, parents would be writing a check that's gone forever from their assets in use and retirement of $15,000, $20,000 or more. In this case, the duplex would be purchased by the parents with about $15,000 of out-of-pocket expenses, but this is going to be in the form of a secured loan to be repaid by your student in the future. The property remains in the parents' names during year one. An FHA loan can be used for this purpose with only 3.5% down. Also, AIHomes.com, we're specialists in negotiating purchasing this type of property with the lowest possible amount of capital. Your student, son or daughter, is going to live free in one of the two apartments. In fact, they most likely would be able to rent out another room in their apartment to a friend of theirs who is also going to maybe a local community college or who's going right into the workforce right from high school. So they would have monthly income, cash flow. The fund during this time, they would be required to get a real estate license, which is so critical, not for the sake of making real estate sales, but for the sake of understanding all the aspects of the most valuable asset they'll ever buy or own or generate income from. So a real estate license, and also courses in property management so they understand how to manage income properties properly. They will need your assistance as they go through this learning curve, but they will be starting to learn and earn right from the time they move into the property. Also, they'd be learning trades that would be taught from local community colleges. They would be enrolled in that community college and starting to get their general education courses at a fraction of the cost that it normally would be at a four-year college. All of those skills will help them be able to renovate and make improvements on the duplex that they own and manage, and that will drastically increase the equity in that property. Their dorm, okay? Imagine your student in a dorm, which is really a wealth building machine. Let's look at traditional college and what it offers them or doesn't. A 4-year loss of income with no guarantees for the future. Their earnings are delayed that long. Learning dated information from an assistant professor. They don't have college professors teaching your students. It's usually an assistant professor who perhaps only has 3 or 4 years more experience in that college than they do as they enter as freshmen. Number 2 or 3, they have to compete with AI in finding that first job. And there'll be about 35% fewer jobs that they'll compete with. National statistics are showing that student debts on graduation debt are averaging between 29 to 35,000 per student. Also, let's not forget the stress and the fact that they're still dependent on you during all of that time of their education. How does that compare to a better idea? Well, the better idea would be that you, as a parent, are putting in a $15,000 down payment in the form of a secured loan on a property that they will move into. They will start to learn how to be independent, but they're close. You're still there to help. You're their professor. They're starting their life now, not putting it on hold for 4 or 5 years. They are self-employed. They're learning and earning at the same time. And they're keeping their other social relationships. They're not thrown into a mix of students that have the same kind of rough starting in a family that they may have had. Let's talk about the parent benefits. We can see that the traditional college is going to cost $60,000 or more, taken out of your assets, which, if left to set for the next 10 to 15, 20 years before you retire, would have increased 4 or 5 times. That would have allowed you to stay and age in place in your home for much longer without your assets running out beforehand. It is so depressing to have parents who have done so much for their children to run out of resources and then be calling their children for help. Your children at that point have new families, have a new spouse, they have obligations of their own to handle, and it's just not a good situation for parents or the student. The main reason here is that as at the current birth, a child being born in the United States, the average life expectancy is age 78. For those of you that are already in your 40s and 50s, you've outlived many other children who died in an earlier stage of life, so you can expect a life expectancy between 85 to 95 years of age. How will you fund that if your funds have been taken away this way? What we're projecting is that a $15,000 secured loan will, at the end of a 4-year period, when the property is refinanced, the first funds coming from that would repay that $15,000 to you so that your funds are made whole again. Skills. This is something that AI cannot do. AI can't replace physical work, whether it's any of the trades that your son or daughter should or have an opportunity to experience as they're going through the community college period, getting their general education courses purchased at a fraction of the normal cost of a four-year college. Emotional intelligence, as we saw in that earlier slide, 44% of the entire population of the United States will, in a short period, be over the age of 65. That's where the opportunities and skills are going to be needed, and they will be well paid for. Also, AI can't be there if there was an emergency, a crisis judgment. AI can't do that. Your son and daughter could be there to handle that problem. Income proof. With those kind of skilled trades in New York State, it's showing that they're making anywhere from $70 to $250 per hour. Serve seniors for a recession-proof income. The key point is to remember that this type of plan is highly flexible. It can be a four-year plan, maybe a six-year plan. But let's look at just the basic design of what this accomplishes for you and for your student. In suggesting the purchase of a two-family home, the student would move into that property and during that first year be living in one of the units, perhaps renting out a room to one of his friends that is going into the workforce right from high school, but they would have an income. They would be living there free, and they would be getting a real estate license to teach them about the asset and income generating capabilities of property. Real estate license gives that education, and it's acquired in a matter of a month to 2 months, and at a cost of less than, in most cases, $500 for online courses. The next, at the end of that 1 year, if your student has done what you expect and have been in partnership with him to agree to, you would transfer 25% of the ownership of that property to your son or daughter. At the end of year 2, they would have completed their local community college. They would be given another 25% so that they own 50% of that property. They possibly also, because of trade schools and other educational accomplishments that can be done at the community college almost for free, they will have certain skills that they may have chosen an interest in that would generate some income in addition. After year 3, or I should say even after year 2, they have got their general education courses. This may be the time where college will work. They go to a four-year college and enter as a junior, but they then are renting out the apartment that they were living in, so they have monthly income coming in to support that education in the last 2 years to get their four-year degree. At the end of 4 years, they own the entire property, but not before refinancing it and repaying the $15,000 or whatever amount of capital that you as parents have invested in that property. They may choose to pursue the career that they've just completed, or the best opportunity really today by many financial planners is owning income property. The number of people that will need to be renting, which increases every year. Um, they may decide to use the equity and the refinancing to very easily qualify to buy a second income property and have income and appreciation from that in addition. This hybrid path means that they get a deed and they also get a degree. The community college first, getting exposed to different income trades that they may have an interest in, but they would have property income. Their general education courses would have been done at the lowest possible cost. They, at the end of getting the associate degree from the community college, they would be then renting out both units of the two-family home, giving them cash flow, transferring the general education credits to the university. They get their education debt-free. They end up getting a degree and a deed. My sincere hope is that I've opened the door to this possibility. It may not be the correct one in every situation, but it is one that's designed on the facts that you and your student is facing. There are problems. Education in college is no longer has the same value, it's not relative, and it's becoming outdated. So we need to consider that as major problems. The fact that you will live into your 80s is a blessing, but without income, it's a problem. We need to find creative solutions like this. So again, scan the QR code to get far more information on Deed First Education as an option. Enroll your student in a community college. Also, we will use AI Homes, our company that specializes in the purchase and sale of real estate, to find a positive cash flowing duplex that's near your location that is less than perhaps that $300,000 mark. But this is a program that's highly flexible, so it can be designed to meet any particular objectives that you have. Well, we first talked about the problem. We've considered this as a potential better solution for education for your graduating son or daughter. Why? Now we need just to test it. Does it really meet the AI challenges that we're all facing? It does give an appreciating asset to your son or daughter from the very beginning instead of a depreciating degree. They're learning AI enhanced skills. They are being pointed in the direction of the demographics of the population of our country. By the year 2050, 85 million seniors will be in that group. That's the largest part of the U.S. society, and that's where the opportunities for services and products will really exist. You can't automate, a leaky faucet. Or you can't replace a landlord that has skill, knowledge, and cares. First, I want to thank you, just for spending this time with us. I know it's difficult. It's a difficult time. We want the best for our sons and daughters as they leave high school. but we do have to be faced with the fact they do not have the same skills, work ethic, or social abilities that you and I had when we graduated. Don't throw them in the mix of an outdated college system that's overpriced and jeopardizes your future retirement. Get in touch with us. Sit down with us. We'll be glad to meet at your home or meet here at our offices and explore all these possibilities and show how your objectives for your son and daughter can be met with this. And we know that this is a new idea, but AI is changing everything, and it dictates for us to survive and thrive, we must be willing to change. Thank you again.